Welcome to Alaska Weather, a production of Alaska Public Media and the National Weather Service, Alaska Region. Produced and broadcast daily from the studios of KAKM, Alaska Weather provides complete forecasts, public, marine, and aviation for all of Alaska. Alaska Weather is made possible by the following sponsors.
The National Weather Service.
Hello everyone, and thanks again for joining us for this Sunday show. There's a high surf advisory out for the north shore of the Seward Peninsula for tomorrow and Tuesday. 4 to 6 foot seas probably will cause some beach erosions and some northerly winds increase later tonight and tomorrow across that area. And also there's a high surf advisory out for the north shore of St. Lawrence Island, and looking for 25 to 30 knot winds resulting in 6 to 8 foot seas, which will probably cause some beach erosion there along the north shore. That advisory is out from noon tomorrow and continuing through Tuesday. Satellite shows a lot of clouds again here moving into the southeast coast. One system sliding by to the south there with rain continuing, more showery conditions up to the north and back to the west. A system, upper disturbance, moved out of Bristol Bay and crossed Kodiak Island during the day today, brought rain from Kodiak up into Seldovia and Homer, back to Iliamna, changing over to showers there over the northeast Bristol Bay with some clearing there off the coast. A lot of sunshine again here from the Seward Peninsula eastward through the Tanana Valley. Partly sunny skies down in the Copper River Basin, but mostly clear across the upper Yukon Valley. Another nice day, just a few clouds there over the Brooks Range. And then clouds along the Arctic coast and North Slope with some, again, fog areas there on the east side. Out to the west, you can see this frontal system progressing slowly across the Bering Sea, bringing some rain and fog into the central Aleutians this afternoon. The main center back out toward the Komodorskis. On the chart, there's a frontal system earlier today, or right about actually this afternoon, right through the central Aleutians there at the areas of rain and fog. Scattered showers here over the Alaska Peninsula, and then the rain pushing across Kodiak Island. They picked up about 1/4 of an inch, or actually during the afternoon today, with rain again up into southern Cook Inlet. Clear skies up over the interior, areas of fog out over the Bering Sea with a lot of low clouds, and dense fog again over at Kaktovik, Barter Island today, down to a 1/4 mile visibility through much of the morning hours into the afternoon. A lot of showers here over the southeast coast. Rainfall amounts range from about 1/2 an inch at Sitka and Port Alexander. This system down here tonight will slide in initially mostly to the south there across the Queen Charlotte Islands. Stays showery there across all of the southeast coast over to about Yakutat. Chance of showers maybe as far west as Cordova, but most of the moisture is staying in the Gulf of Alaska. Otherwise mostly cloudy with scattered showers south central Alaska. I've got showers in the Aleutian Range and scattered showers and cloudy skies back across the Yukon-Kuskokwim Delta, staying fair with light winds across much of the central and north interior areas. Look for some scattered rain and snow showers there on the western Arctic coast, light winds, areas of fog, possibly dense fog again on the eastern coastline with fog chances right down the Bering Sea coast here, right into Bristol Bay. And then rain spreading eastward there, increasing chances of rain for the Pribilof Islands and also the eastern Aleutians, especially Nikulski. And that'll advance the low center almost right on top of St. Paul tomorrow, and that'll push rain across the eastern Aleutians there and into the Alaska Peninsula. Then that front dropping down from the north, band of shower activity from the north central interior areas back down across the Yukon Delta. Just a narrow band of light precipitation, nothing that'll amount to very much at all. And then look for snow here for the western Brooks Range, mixing with rain in the afternoon, and then some rain and snow shower, a chance of rain and snow showers there for the western Arctic coast. Those northerly winds on the increase here across the Chukchi Sea, and eventually, especially tomorrow afternoon, for St. Lawrence Island through the Bering Strait, but very light wind conditions, distinct lack of any pressure gradient here through much of the interior areas, down even into the Gulf of Alaska. Kodiak Island, light winds, partly sunny skies, partly sunny for south central Alaska for Labor Day tomorrow, with dry conditions and some sunshine up into the Susitna Valley, Copper River Basin, back up into the Tanana Valley again. But look for rain, heavy at times here, possibly at some point in the day tomorrow for the southern southeast coast. Stays showery to the north with a lot of clouds, and at least dry along the North Gulf Coast. Outlook for Tuesday, that system down to the south there pushes northeast, or at least initially most of the rain going into the Queen Charlotte Islands, but it looks like now actually this will come far enough north and spread some rain Tuesday afternoon and some wind into the southern panhandle. Again, by afternoon Tuesday, instead of holding off until Tuesday night. It should be fair with some sunshine up to the north. Scattered showers, mostly cloudy skies, or cloudy skies with showers here across south central Alaska and back into the Kuskokwim Delta areas there. And a low pressure area coming down, bringing some rain and snow to the western Arctic coast and also on the extreme east side there. And this front spreading rain into the southwest interior, increasing chances of rain across Kodiak Island there. And then that trough dropping southward, another band of rain will come across the Pribilofs, so rain changing to showers Tuesday afternoon there. Increasing chances of rain for the Fox Islands, and then this will probably drop across the Aleutians Tuesday evening. Looking at temperatures this afternoon, along the southeast coast, pretty uniform, mid to upper 50s, 55 at Sitka, 54 in Juneau, Annette, rain and 56 degrees this afternoon. Yakutat up to 58, 57 at Cordova with Valdez at 55. Some sunshine, 61 in Gulkana, 61 also in Talkeetna this afternoon, with 50s across the Kenai Peninsula. Up in the Tanana Valley, Fairbanks once again reaching 62 by mid-afternoon, and upper 50s there for Fort Yukon. Same thing for Bettles, mid-50s for the Brooks Range at Anatuvik and Arctic Village, and the eastern Arctic coast in the mid to upper 30s, and then lower 40s for the central and western coast, upper 40s there for the northwest interior. And Nome came in with 48 this afternoon. McGrath had 59. Sleepmute up to 61. And Bethel at 55 degrees. Over at Amonik, they recorded 50, 52 at Makoriak. And through the Bering Strait, Tin City had 42 this afternoon and 45 at Gamble. Pribilof Islands had lower 50s this afternoon, about 55, mid-50s really across all of the Aleutians, mid to upper 50s for the Alaska Peninsula, but King Salmon did reach 60. And for the lows tonight, upper 40s and lower 50s for all of the southeast coast, and 40s to near 50 here over south central Alaska. Cool 30s in the Copper River Basin where the skies are clear, temperatures dropping into the upper 20s, otherwise 30s across the north slope, lower 30s on the Arctic coast. And with more clouds, temperatures held up into the mid to upper 40s over much of the southwest quarter of the state, the Aleutians, Alaska Peninsula, upper 40s to near 50. Highs for tomorrow, lower 60s there over northeast Bristol Bay, and lower 60s again with some sunshine there through the Tanana Valley. Susitna Valley also rising into the lower 60s, otherwise upper 50s along the North Gulf Coast, mid to upper 50s for the Panhandle. Flying weather looks VFR here all along the southeast coast and much of the Gulf of Alaska. Marginal VFR staying east of Kodiak Island or to the south, so pretty good VFR conditions here through much of interior Alaska tomorrow. IFR out along the coast of the Bering Sea, dropping down into the eastern Aleutians as that front pushes eastward. Then some IFR up along the Arctic coast, kind of trailing back in over the eastern north slope down toward the Brooks Range. Passes, Anatuvik, marginal VFR at times tomorrow with the lowest conditions on the northern entrances. Again, Adigan, marginal VFR, best chance on the north entrance, otherwise VFR. Lake Clark and Merrill, marginal VFR to start with and becoming VFR throughout the morning. Rainy VFR, windy VFR, and Isabel and Mentasta both open. Open also for Tanita, Portage, another VFR day, and Chilkoot and White, marginal VFR trending toward VFR conditions as the day progresses. Freezing levels, again, not much of a gradient. Colder air starting to show up there on the western Arctic coast, so 2,000 to 4,000 feet up in that area, otherwise 6,000 feet from the central interior all the way down to the Gulf of Alaska and across the Panhandle, and we've got 8,000 feet up over the southeast Bering and the eastern Aleutians. Icing chances with that front coming eastward, that'll spread some moisture and some rime icing above 6,000 feet from the Pribilofs down across the eastern Aleutians to the Alaska Peninsula, and then mostly above 4,000 feet there for the North Slope and the western Brooks Range. And then look for some mixed icing here across the Panhandle above about 6,000 feet, mixed or rime icing. And the winds aloft showing southern jet, pretty zonal west-east flow here, mostly south of the state, cutting in across the Queen Charlotte Islands there. So that'll bring some moisture in across the southern Panhandle tomorrow. And then this northern jet here, up to 100 knots there across Wrangel Island. That's going to start dropping some colder air into the northwest interior and push that frontal boundary, a weak frontal boundary, southward. And the 9,000-foot winds, light southwest flow here over much of the interior, and then those northerly winds 25 to 30 knots across the Chukchi Sea and the northern Bering, but very light variable winds. Could see some easterlies here at 25 knots, but southerlies at 10 knots for the southeast coast, and then westerlies 20 to 25 knots over the Aleutians, and about 25 knots around this low center near the Pribilofs. Same pattern at 3,000 feet with the trough extending right through the interior like that. Very light wind conditions out in advance of it and along the trough, but northerly winds 25 increasing to 30 knots there from the Chukchi Sea into St. Lawrence Island. 25 to 30 knot winds with that low center near the Pribilofs, and pretty light winds here for the southeast coast. Turbulence-wise, smooth here through the interior, all of the Panhandle, nothing significant expected, but look for some occasional moderate chop there. Light isolated moderate chop below 4,000 feet here again from the Chukchi Sea right down to St. Lawrence Island. Maybe a little bumpy over the Pribilofs and the far western Aleutians, but nothing too serious. And after the break, I'll be back with the marine forecasts.
When wildfires occur, homes and the landscape interact with natural forces. And the results are often devastating. Though the vast and varied beauty of our country offers endless landscaping opportunities, no region is safe from wildland fire. Of special concern are the areas where dwellings abut forests, often referred to as the wildland-urban interface. Often thought to be a problem in only western states, major wildland fires have occurred all across the United States. In 1985, 400 homes were lost in Florida in a matter of hours. In 1987, more than 2,400 fires spread over the rich forest lands in Washington, Oregon, and Northern California. In 1988, natural fires destroyed individual homes and threatened small towns on the edges of Yellowstone National Park. In 1991, the worst interface fire in recent U.S. history literally incinerated over 3,000 homes in Oakland, California in only a few hours. Forest fires, house fires. More and more, the two are inseparable, and the potential exists all over the country during wildfire season. In this program, we'll explore several factors that make wildland-urban interface fires so destructive, including seasonal effects, natural forces, and people. We'll look at fire growth and behavior, and how they are affected by arrangement and type of fuels, the terrain, wind, and finally, we'll have a brief look at landscape principles, from site evaluation and plant selection to placement and maintenance, all of which can help protect a home from an advancing wildfire. In a typical year, wildfires begin in the southeastern states in spring. Dry winters the previous year caused grasses and trees to become combustible, and wildfires occur in the northeast and the southwestern states. The changing jet stream continues to warm the continent, and the westernmost states experience numerous wildland fires in the mid to late summer. Finally, The annual wildfire season ends as fall drying increases the frequency of wildfires in the northeast, southeast, and southwest. Wildfire is nature's way of clearing dead materials from the forest, enriching the soil, and preparing the earth for new growth. Following the Yellowstone fires, grasses and plants not seen in the park for generations reappeared, given new life by sunlight falling once again through forest canopies, warming newly enriched soil. The wildfire problem, though, is not limited to nature. As people move into areas where wildfires have occurred for centuries, they add fuels that can accelerate the spread of fire. Whether simple cabins, mobile homes, or large, expensive developments, all are constructed in the wakes of past fires and in the path of future fires. When firefighters are called to fires in these areas, their limited resources force the choice between attacking the fire or defending the home. Homeowners in or near wildland areas must assume some responsibility for protecting their property. But even with widespread media coverage that accompanies major fires, many remain unaware of how wildfires behave or the preventive actions they can take to defend themselves and their homes. Fire in any environment follows a path controlled by the amount and type of fuel, the contours of the terrain, and wind, its velocity and direction. Fire needs fuel, something to burn, like grass, trees, or the homes nestled among them. To an interface fire, homes and other structures become merely fuel. Fires start and burn rapidly in light fuels, like grass, which in turn provides a path to trees. Once at the base of a tree, fire can move into low branches and climb to the top or crown. This arrangement, known as ladder fuels, is one of the more significant ways wildfires gain strength and power. The slope of the terrain is also a major factor in a wildfire spread and intensity. The flame on a match lingers and eventually dies as long as the fuel remains level. But if a match is held at an angle, the fire burns hotter and faster as it climbs. This is the way wildfire spreads. The fire heats and dries fuels above it, causing them to burn. Many homes have been lost because they were located in the upward path of a fire. Wind is also a major factor. Fires need air to continue burning, and large fires need a lot of air. Wind can cause wildfires to grow quickly, to die down, to change direction, or even to move downhill as fast as they do uphill. Burning leaves can be deposited on and around structures. These spot fires can grow, and their combined heat can cause a structure to burn well in advance of the wildfire. Similarly, a house fire can release embers which spread to other homes and trees. But a home's chances of survival can be improved through the careful planning and design of the structure and the area around it. This area is often referred to as defensible space. And it is here that landscape professionals create both visual harmony and fire safety, using appropriate landscape design principles. Evaluating a property for the initial design depends, of course, on the structure, the terrain, and soil types. Site evaluation is also affected by other factors, including existing structures, lot configuration, and natural vegetation. Experience has shown that landscape design is one of the most important factors in a home's survival. When beginning the design process, consider the following fire safety issues. The location of the home on the lot contributes to its safety from wildfire. Located on a steep slope, this home is in danger from wildfire climbing the slope, and the chances of igniting the structure are increased drastically. The goal, then, is to develop a landscape whose design and choice of plants offer the best fire protection. The selection of plants and mulches, the placement and construction of patios and decks, and areas such as driveways and walks provide opportunities both to enhance the property and to provide an added degree of fire protection. Many techniques and ideas will help address the issues of fire-wise planning, but none can guarantee complete safety. A good fire-wise landscape is dependent on other factors, such as the condition and maintenance of the neighboring property. fire does not respect boundary lines. An ideal strategy would be to surround the house with things that simply will not burn. But nothing is fireproof. Consider these basic guidelines for designing fire safety into landscape designs. Reduce or eliminate highly flammable plants, especially those that overhang chimneys and roofs, and clear away dead brush and wood regularly. Eliminate ladder fuels, which enable a fire to climb into low-hanging branches of trees and then to the home. Pruning tree branches 6 to 10 feet helps reduce the ladder effect. Driveways, open expanses of lawn, and walkways can interrupt a fire's path. The analyses of wildland-urban interface fires shows that as the distance of dense, flammable vegetation from a house increases, so do its chances of survival. A well-maintained lawn or ground cover provides an effective and attractive defensible space by keeping fire a safe distance from the house. It also provides firefighters an area to locate equipment and hoses to further protect the structure. Trees should be carefully spaced to reduce the density of vegetation. The removal of flammable debris interrupts the fire's path. Some designs use mulch, such as pine needles, as natural walkways. A more fire-conscious selection is the use of rock for walkways instead of the more traditional and flammable mulch. These guidelines provide only a framework for creating fire-safe landscapes. Remember, fire safety doesn't mean stripping away everything from around the home. Although dead leaves can allow fire to spread, removing all leaf litter depletes the soil of nutrients. And though pruning is a sound way to eliminate ladder fuels, improper pruning damages plants and trees and disrupts the environmental balance of the property. Landscapes that are easy for homeowners to maintain are more desirable than highly complex arrangements that are neglected. Over time, plants grow and spread. Mulches dry out. Leaves and pine needles accumulate. All contribute to the fuels from which a fire grows. Proper maintenance improves appearance and helps protect the structure from wildfire. For centuries, the solitude and peace of nearby wildlands has lured many away from the confinements and pressures of urban life. We should encourage those who live there to be wise about the landscape. Indeed, fire-wise.
Northeast winds up to 25 knots for the south coast, otherwise east to southeast at 15 for the central and north coast, with seas running at about 6 feet. Northern Lynn Canal southerlies in the forecast for tomorrow at about 15 knots, southeast 15 for Stevens Passage, and small craft advisories here for Clarence Strait. And the outlook for Tuesday, easterlies coming up to 25 knots in the afternoon there for the south coast. Otherwise, pretty light winds from the east and southeast for the remainder of the central and northern coast, 10 to 15 knots with those seas still running at about 6 feet. A little windier there for Northern Lynn Canal, southerlies increasing to 20 knots with 4-foot seas. Light winds for Stevens Passage and southeast 15 for Clarence Strait. For the Prince William Sound area, light variable winds. In fact, most areas will be light and variable on the winds here. Cook Inlet, Kodiak Island, the Barrens, Kamishak Bay. Northerlies up to 15 knots there for the North Gulf Coast with 5-foot seas. And looking ahead to Tuesday, light variable winds continue for northern Cook Inlet. Southerlies at about 10 there for the southern part of the inlet, and light variable winds here at about 10 knots for the Barren Islands and western North Gulf Coast, but southeast at 20 there for the North Gulf Coast, east 10 for Prince William Sound, southwest 15 there for Kodiak Island, but still light and variable in Shelikof Strait, southeast 15 for Kamishak Bay. For Bristol Bay, westerlies tomorrow at 15 knots, southwest 15 here for the Alaska Peninsula, and then on the Pacific side of the peninsula, light variable winds there all the way up to Sitkinak. And for Tuesday, westerlies or west-southwest at about 15 knots here for the Alaska Peninsula, light southerlies for Bristol Bay, and southwest 15 from Sitkinak to about Chignik. And for the eastern Aleutians, central and eastern Aleutians, all westerly tomorrow at about 15 knots with seas running 4 to 10 feet there. Small craft advisories back out to the west there for southwesterlies at 25 knots with 12-foot seas. And then those become northwest at 20 on Tuesday. Westerly winds for the central Aleutians, just 10 to 20 knots here actually from Adak and Atka, extending eastward there across the Fox Islands with 6 to 7 foot seas. And for the southwest coast, light variable winds here south of Nunivak Island, light northeasterlies north of the island there, but small craft advisories picking up 25 or maybe 30 knots there for St. Lawrence Island out of the north. Northeast at 25 for the northern Bering Sea, southeast at 20 for the Pribilofs. And then on Tuesday, those winds swing around to the north there for the Pribilof Islands, but only at about 15 knots. And then markedly different conditions here. South of Nunivak Island, light variable winds continue, but northeasterlies increasing to 25 knots. Northerlies at 30 knots there for St. Lawrence Island, and small craft advisories also for St. Matthew Island and the northern Bering Sea. Up along the Arctic coast, northwest to west, 10 to 15 knots tomorrow, seas 3 to 4 feet. Northerly winds from Wales to Cape Thompson up to 25 knots and about 20 knots north of there. And for Tuesday, still with the small craft advisories here across the Chukchi Sea, northwest 20 knots for the western Arctic coast. The central and east side all westerly at 15 with those seas running 3 to 5 feet. And for tonight again, showers and clouds here continue. Wet conditions there for the southeast coast. Chance of showers for the North Gulf Coast areas, otherwise mostly cloudy with isolated scattered showers over the mountainous terrain, south central Alaska, western Alaska Range, the Aleutian Range, and some scattered showers out to the west there. Otherwise fair over the interior with light wind conditions and rain moving eastward across the Bering Sea. So wet conditions for the Pribilofs, Alaska Peninsula tomorrow. Chance of snow for the western Brooks Range area, and wet especially over the southern panhandle tomorrow. More showery back to the north, and partly sunny skies here for south central Alaska, Kodiak Island, and the Tanana Valley areas northward to the Brooks Range. And then for Tuesday, rain makes landfall as early as Tuesday afternoon there for the southern panhandle, or as late as Tuesday evening. More rain over the southwest interior, showers through the central part of the state. Have a great evening.
These forecasts are to be used for planning purposes only. Call 1-800-WX-BRIEF for a formal pre-flight briefing. Always file a flight plan before you go flying. The U.S. Coast Guard Auxiliary urges you to leave a float plan with a friend or the harbor master before you go boating. Alaska Weather is made possible by the following sponsors.
The National Weather Service.